Hello and welcome back to another fantasy football video. I hope you guys are all doing well. We are back after the interruption that was the World Cup, after what was Messi's glory. Now we've all been given a free wildcard. For you, like me, hopefully this gives you the opportunity to have a bit of a fresh reset. For me, I had a bit of a poor run going into the World Cup, so I'm really hoping that this wildcard can give me a boost going into the Boxing Day fixtures and beyond into the new year and really help me rise up in rank. If you are new around here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button if you do enjoy the content. Comment down below the teams that you're thinking of bringing into this Game Week 17 fixture. I'm really intrigued to see other people's teams. And without further ado, let's get straight on into this one. So as you can see here, my current overall rank is 1.6 million, so not particularly good. I am hoping that this wildcard can give me a boost and potentially get me to a top 100k as soon as possible, but that's kind of the aim towards the end of the season. Now, the first thing that you'll be able to notice about my defence is the fact that we do have no Chelsea players. Chelsea do have some decent fixtures, with also having a double game week 19 as well against Man City and Fulham. Now, for me, I just look at the defenders there that I have and don't think that I want to bring any Chelsea defenders in. The main one that you'd be looking at is Reece James, and he has recently got that yellow flag removed on FPL and does look like he's ready to go against Bournemouth at home in Game Week 17. But for me, I look at that defence, as I say, I look at Cancelo and Trippier, two staples of the defence so far this season. Cancelo being a part of a very solid Manchester City defence, and Trippier getting clean sheets, getting bonus points, getting attacking returns, making him the highest scoring FPL defender so far this season. Saliba, a player that has been part of a solid Arsenal defence. I've already had two opportunities to bring Saliba into my team. I've missed up on both of those opportunities, and both times it has been a mistake. I don't want to make the mistake a third time in a row. And Luke Shaw for me is just a bit of a punt. I was looking at the sides that are most likely to keep a clean sheet this game week, and Manchester United against Nottingham Forest came top. Closely behind, to be fair, was Chelsea. I just think that for me, Reece James is too much of an injury risk. I've had so much trouble with Reece James in the past, with him getting injured, with Chelsea not actually keeping clean sheets. They've only actually kept 2 clean sheets under Potter so far this season, and I don't know, for me it's just a bit of a no-go. If I do, if he does look like an essential option going into the double game week 19, then I can always transfer him in. I just think for this coming game week, Shaw, Saliba, Trippier and Cancelo are the 4 guys that I want to go with. My team is reasonably defensively heavy. My thinking is that coming into the Boxing Day, coming into the festive period of fixtures, the fixtures are quite condensed, and that tends to mean that we see less goals scored and more clean sheets kept. And so I think going more towards the defensively heavy side is the way to go. Now, the other way into the Chelsea defence is going with Kepa. Kepa currently does still have the yellow flag next to his name, and it is a bit of a doubt for the Bournemouth game. So I've gone for Danny Ward against Newcastle. Now, that Danny Ward against Newcastle by no means is guaranteed a clean sheet. Newcastle have been good so far this season. I do think that form coming into these Boxing Day fixtures from prior to the World Cup shouldn't really be taken too much into account, because I do think there are going to be some quite unexpected results, and teams that, maybe weren't performing particularly well prior to the World Cup come through with players that have been, quite well rested and actually have quite a good start to the festive period. Danny Ward was keeping clean sheets and getting himself some save points as well. Coming up 4.1 million, he looks like a decent option. Now taking a look at the midfield. Now the first thing you'll notice is that I've gone for Salah. I've gone for De Bruyne, over Salah. I do think that De Bruyne just about pips it for me, and it is just a pip because it is quite a 50-50 decision between the two. De Bruyne has 90 points, Salah has 82. There's only an 8 points difference between the two of them. I do like the look of De Bruyne's fixtures, playing against Leeds and then Everton the next 2, and then he does have that double game week 20, along with the fact that they do have a double game week 23 as well. I don't think that either one is going to particularly outscore each other week on week, but with the fact that Manchester City have more fixtures, it just leans me towards picking De Bruyne. Salah is still playing quite wide in that Liverpool team, and Liverpool do play 3 of the next 4 fixtures away from home, and Liverpool are more of a home team than an away team. Liverpool did look decent in that Manchester City EFL Cup game with Salah scoring, but then so did Manchester City. Manchester City came out the victors, De Bruyne picking up 2 assists in that game, and with Haaland being fresh after not being at the World Cup, De Bruyne is going to be whipping the ball into him. He's one of the most clinical finishers that we have seen in the Premier League, and with De Bruyne being the man that is assisting him, I think that De Bruyne for me is the one that I'm going to go for over Salah. Now, taking a look at the other 2 midfielders, Martinelli and Rashford. Firstly, Martinelli for Arsenal. Now, Arteta has alluded to the fact that he might actually play Martinelli up front now that Gabriel Jesus is injured, which would make him a fantastic option. Even if Martinelli keeps his spot on that left wing, which he, will most likely do if he doesn't play up front, he's still a solid option. With the value that most of us have in him, is a 50-50 between him and Saka in terms of who's going to score more points, and Saka is about 1.3 million more expensive. So for me, it is Martinelli over Saka. Then you've also got Odegaard, who's popping up now and again with the bonus points, with a brace here and there. I just think that Martinelli is going to be the more consistent over this festive period. So he's the one that I have gone for, especially with holding some value in him. Now, the other one that I've gone for, Rashford. Rashford, for me, is one of the must-own players coming into this festive period. With the fixtures that Manchester United do have, they're also a team that do quite normally like the festive period. They have had some very good results over this period in the past. If you saw that goal against Burnley that Rashford scored, it was an incredible goal. Running from the halfway line, beating a couple of players and smashing the ball into the bottom left-hand corner. There is an outside chance that he is also going to be taking penalties, and at 6.8 million, Rashford looks like a solid option. Then taking us into the attack, you can see that I've gone for the triple Manchester United. I was just looking at the stats and it said that, Manchester United most likely to keep clean sheets and their expected goals is going to be the highest this coming game week. And I've gone for Martial up front. There is no real competition for Martial either. In the EFL Cup game, he got subbed off for Elanga. Now, they're not going to play Elanga up front. Most likely, if they bring Elanga on, Rashford's going to be the guy who moves up front and owning Rashford. I don't mind that at all. I just think that if Martial is fit, he's going to be playing week in, week out. As we'll come to in a minute, the rotation that I do have in the back pocket means that it doesn't really matter if Martial is not firing, scoring, or even playing because of the other players that I can bring in. Now, Haaland, I'm not going to bore you with too much on Haaland. We all know that he's a fantastic option and most likely going to be our captain going forward into the coming game. He's going to be my captain against Leeds. And yeah, not much more to say other than fantastic option. Now, Darwin, the main man in the middle there. He does look like a pretty good option coming into the Boxing Day fixtures. Now, for me, it was, do I either go for Salah or Darwin? I don't think I like the idea of having both just because Liverpool haven't been that great going forward this season. They did look good in that Manchester City game with Darwin and Salah combining. I just think that Darwin at a little bit of a cheaper price than Salah allows me to do much more with the rest of my team. And with the fact that Firmino and Diaz are now injured, I think that Darwin is going to be getting consistent minutes. He managed to score a brace in the previous Liverpool game and get a goal in the game before that. So he's now on 3 in 2 games for Liverpool. And even if he doesn't do too well, he's 9 million. I can drop him down to another player. Another thing I was debating was, do I get Kane over Martial and Darwin, or do I go for Martial and Darwin over Kane and say Greenwood? I ended up going for Darwin and Martial because I think the combination of the two provides a little bit more depth and probably more points, especially with the fact that, Martial has got this Forest fixture and Darwin plays against a Villa side that don't actually have, a registered goalkeeper available to play. So I'm pretty pleased with that attack. The other options were potentially Mitrovic, but he is now injured. And Callum Wilson, I do like the look of, but just for this game week 17, I think the Martial looks like the nicer option. I could even go Martial to Callum Wilson. That is a potential option for game week 18, but let's see how he does first. Then finally, we take a look at the bench. And as you can see, I have a full squad of 15 that is going to be playing week in, week out. Almiron was the main guy that I was thinking I'm potentially going to be playing at this week. However, I looked at it and I was just like, Martial probably is the one that I want to play over him. I wouldn't be playing Almiron over any of the other players. It is a bit of a shame to bench him off of the form that he was showing prior to the World Cup, but I definitely will be rotating Almiron in there when they do get some home games, when they do get some nice fixtures, which are coming up. Andreas at 4.6 million. who's been solid so far this season. He's another one like Almiron that you kind of put on your bench because he is cheaper, but has actually been performing particularly well so far this season, so it is quite a shame to be benching him, although I do think it is, for both of them, probably a kind of unfavourable fixtures with them both playing away, especially on Boxing Day, first game back. I think that the teams that are playing away, apart from the big teams like Manchester City, may struggle a little bit more. Then we have Bueno finishing us off at 3.9 million from Wolves. Very unlikely that I'm going to play him, but it's just a playing player, 3.9 million, just nice to have him, stick him on the end of the bench, and if I really need to play him, he can come in and play. And a lot of people I see discussing, don't put the transfers in for the double game weeks, think about your transfers before you're going in. But for me, with the fact that I have 15 playing players, even if 4 of my players get injured, including the goalkeeper, I have enough depth that I can bring them in. It's not like earlier on in the season when you have the kind of, your 4.5 million attacker who doesn't play, your 4.5 million midfielder who doesn't play, so you've got to think about the transfers. I think for me, with the depth that this squad has, I can actually think, okay, yeah, I can potentially put that transfer in. I've not got any massive ideas with a lot of fixtures yet to be rescheduled. Brighton could get a double, could get a triple game week in the future. I'm just waiting to see what happens with those, and then if they do end up getting a triple game week fixture, well then I can just transfer those players in at the time. And finally, we've gone for Bernd Leno as the backup goalkeeper. I think that he rotates reasonably well with Ward playing at Southampton 18, and then double game week 19 with Ward having a pretty decent 20 to 22, and then Leno having decent fixtures after that. Leno has made 37 saves in the last 8 game weeks, which is very impressive. That's also averaging more than 3 saves a game. When he keeps a clean sheet, he gets himself on the bonus points. He gets plenty of save points. And so that Leno, bit of a differential, but I quite like him as a punt going forward. You can see there that my team value is 100.3 million. Not the best, but I feel like I've managed to make a pretty decent squad out of the money that I do have. And then 1.1 million in the bank allows me to do a little bit more when we do get those kind of rescheduled fixtures come through. 873 points. Hopefully we can build on top of that and get a decent score going into game week 17. This is the squad. If you have enjoyed this video, please don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and comment down below what you think of the team